All right, we are going to actually talk about now. It will be Unit 2, 2.4 is the section. Information and communication technology. We talked about the history. What were the 4 attributes? Think about it a little bit. Speed, and remember that's processing speed, nanoseconds, picoseconds, milliseconds. And then we talked about speed of the data traveling through networks, bits per second. How many bits per second? So we had speed. We had, it's very accurate, large quantity of information that computers can handle. And then, remember what the R was? Reliability. Connect to the internet. Anytime we connect to the internet, it must be through an internet service provider. It has to have some connection in. You might go through a LAN and you say, well, I'm connected and all I did was turn on my Wi-Fi at McDonald's. But McDonald's is connected to the internet service provider. Using the internet, wow, big review here. We can send email through the internet. We can chat. We can Skype. We can World Wide Web, and so forth. Facts versus opinions, and we're going to talk some more about these things here in a little bit. All right. Computing history, we talked about that a little bit, and we already reviewed these. Speed, processing speed, move data, bits per second. Bandwidth is typically measured in bits per second. How many bits we can move through a byte. Big deal? Yes. That tends to be how we pay the providers for access. It's either how many bits per second or we'll measure how many bytes we get. And that's typically how your phone, your smartphone works. Right? You have a data plan. They talk about bytes. Your internet at home or wherever, they're usually talking about how much bandwidth. Typically how much you download. Usually you get a lot less going up. Okay? And we know computers, we talked about being accurate, and then we talked about quantity. So quantity, if you have a data plan for your phone, okay, that it might be 3 gig. Here, they're talking about gigabytes, okay? How many gigabytes can you move through their network? And you pay for that. Okay? We'll learn more about this in Unit 5. Terabytes. And reliability. Remember we talked about that. You can have good speed, you can be accurate, and large quantity, but it only makes sense if you're reliable. Web access. Remember the World Wide Web uses the internet to move uses a hypertext transfer protocol, and hypertext transfer protocol secure. That moves this HTML language files through the internet, and then your browser interprets the HTML and makes it look nice on your screen. All right. Communications. I'll make one other comment here. A tweet is kind of like a blog, except sometimes it's called a microblog, right? 140 characters or whatever. Remember, texting is through the phone system, not through the internet. And podcasts are becoming extremely popular. Search tools, search engine software that allows you to search these large indexes, find different quality of what you're looking for, and then they move you to the web server of your choice. Okay? Content evaluation. The value of what you find. Really important. Utilities. This won't take long. We'll mention a few web utilities. Web-based apps. Typically we're thinking things like Google Docs. They control the app and we just access it. There are other types of them out there. Windows, actually, their Office package, they have an Office package in which you can access documents, spreadsheets, a couple other things in the same fashion as Google Docs does. The web allows us to transfer files. File Transfer Protocol, FTP, and Trivia File Transfer Protocol. So you can look up the definitions of each of those. This one is a transmission control protocol. It's going to check and make sure it's got everything. And this one's UDP. It's not going to check, it's just going to transfer the information. Browsers can have plugins, add-ons, add-ins, extensions, where really the important thing is you can add to your browser. You can get it to do other things. For example, at home I have Chromecast. So in my browser there is an extension. I have to enable that in order for my Chromecast to work. And Chromecast, a little device that's plugged into my TV so that I can send information from my my laptop sitting in my den to my big TV through my Wi-Fi. There's a little device plugged into my TV, my Chromecast device, and then there's an extension in, I use Chrome, that allows me to enable that so I can start a movie on here and it shows up on my TV. You can turn on content filters. More or less they'll look at the content and they can block particular content from going through the browser. The simple example would be if you have kids at home, you may have a centralized computer for them to use, and you could set these blocks up so the kids don't see things they shouldn't see. Coming up next, productivity software, we'll talk about that, and technology impacts. And then the summary. Almost done with the chapter.